Good morning, philosophers. Ah, we're alive today. That's kind of awesome. Let us continue. We're starting book 3 today, which means I mislabeled the video. Yeah. I'll have to remember to change that later. All right, book 3. Carnuntum is the name of the book. Number 1. Not just that every day more of our life is used up, and less of it is left. But this too, if we live longer, can we be sure our mind will still be up to understanding the world? To the contemplation that aims at divine and human knowledge? If our mind starts to wander, we'll still go on breathing, go on eating, imagining things, feeling urges, and so on. But getting the most out of ourselves, calculating where our duty lies, analyzing what we hear and see, deciding whether it's time to call it quits. All the things you need a healthy mind for, all those are gone. So we need to hurry. Not just because we move daily closer to death, but also because our understanding, our grasp of the world, may be gone before we get there. So we need to hurry. Number 2. We should remember that even nature's inadvertence has its own charm, its own attractiveness. The way loaves of bread split open on top in the oven, the ridges are just byproducts of the baking, and yet pleasing somehow. They rouse our appetite without our knowing why. Or how ripe figs begin to burst, and olives on the point of falling, the shadow of decay gives them a particular beauty. Stalks of wheat bending under their own weight, the furrowed brow of the lion, flecks of foam on the boar's mouth, and other things. If you look at them in isolation, there's nothing beautiful about them. And yet, by supplementing nature, they enrich it and draw us in. And anyone with a feeling for nature, a deeper sensitivity, will find it all gives pleasure, even what seems inadvertent. He'll find the jaws of live animals as beautiful as painted ones or sculptures. He'll look calmly at the distinct beauty of old age in men, women, and at the loveliness of children. And other things like that will call out to him constantly, things unnoticed by others. Things seen only by those at home with nature and its works. Number 3. Hippocrates cured many illnesses, and then fell ill and died. The Chaldeans predicted the deaths of many others. In due course their own hour arrived. Alexander, Pompey, Caesar, who utterly destroyed so many cities, cut down so many thousand foot and horse in battle, they too departed this life. Heraclitus often told us the world would end in fire, but it was moisture that carried him off. He died smeared with cow shit. Jesus. Democritus was killed by ordinary vermin, Socrates by the humankind. That's the truth. Preach it. Democritus was killed by ordinary vermin, Socrates by the humankind. And you boarded, you set sail, you've made the passage. Time to disembark. If it's for another life, well, there's nowhere without gods on that side either. If to nothingness, then you no longer have to put up with pain and pleasure, or go on dancing attendance on this battered crate, your body. So much inferior to that which serves it. One is mind and spirit, the other earth and garbage. Number 4, don't waste the rest of your time here worrying about other people, unless it affects the common good. It will keep you from doing anything useful. You'll be too preoccupied with what so-and-so is doing and why, and what they're saying and what they're thinking and what they're up to, and all the other things that throw you off and keep you from focusing on your own mind. You need to avoid certain things in your train of thought. Everything random, everything irrelevant. And certainly everything self-important or malicious. You need to get used to winnowing your thoughts so that if someone says, "What are you thinking about?" you can respond at once and truthfully that you are thinking this or thinking that. And it would be obvious at once from your answer that your thoughts were straightforward and considerate ones. The thoughts of an unselfish person, one unconcerned with pleasure and with sensual indulgence generally, with squabbling, with slander and envy, or anything else you'd be ashamed to be caught thinking. Someone like that, someone who refuses to put off joining the elect, is a kind of priest, a servant of the gods, in touch with what is within him and what keeps a person undefiled by pleasures, invulnerable to any pain, untouched by arrogance, unaffected by meanness, an athlete in the greatest of all contests, the struggle not to be overwhelmed by anything that happens. With what leaves us dyed indelibly by justice, welcoming wholeheartedly whatever comes, whatever we're assigned, not worrying too often or with any selfish motive about what other people say, or do, or think. He does only what is his to do and considers constantly what the world has in store for him, doing his best and trusting that all is for the best, for we carry our fate with us and it carries us. He keeps in mind that all rational things are related and that to care for all human beings is part of being human, which doesn't mean we have to share their opinions. We should listen only to those whose lives conform to nature, and the others, he bears in mind what sort of people they are, both at home and abroad, by night as well as day, and who they spend their time with, and he cares nothing for their praise, men who can't even meet their own standards. Number 5, how to act. Never under compulsion, out of selfishness, without forethought, with misgivings. Don't gussy up your thoughts. No surplus words or unnecessary actions. Let the spirit in you represent a man, an adult, a citizen, a Roman, a ruler, taking up his post like a soldier and patiently awaiting his recall from life, needing no oath or witness. Cheerfulness, without requiring other people's help, or serenity supplied by others. To stand up straight, not straightened. Number 6. If at some point in your life you should come across anything better than justice, honesty, self-control, courage, then a mind satisfied that it has succeeded in enabling you to act rationally, and satisfied to accept what's beyond its control. If you find anything better than that, embrace it without reservations. It must be an extraordinary thing indeed, and enjoy it to the full. But if nothing presents itself that's superior to the spirit that lives within, the one that has subordinated individual desires to itself, that discriminates among impressions, that has broken free of physical temptations, as Socrates used to say, and subordinated itself to the gods, and looks out for human beings' welfare, if you find that there's nothing more important or valuable than that, then don't make room for anything but it, for anything that might lead you astray, tempt you off the road, and leave you unable to devote yourself completely to achieving the goodness that is uniquely yours. It would be wrong for anything to stand between you and attaining goodness, as a rational being and a citizen. Anything at all. The applause of the crowd, high office, wealth, or self-indulgence. All of them might seem to be compatible with it for a while, but suddenly they control us and sweep us away. So make your choice straightforwardly, once and for all, and stick to it. Choose what's best. Best is what benefits me. As a rational being, then follow through, or just as an animal. Then say so and stand your ground without making a show of it. Just make sure you've done your homework first. I need to read all of this like 7 times to get all the little pieces out of it. Number 7. Never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a trust, or lose your sense of shame, or makes you show hatred, suspicion, ill will, or hypocrisy, or a desire for things best done behind closed doors. That's a good one. Never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a trust, or lose your sense of shame, or makes you show hatred, suspicion, ill will, or hypocrisy, or a desire for things best done behind closed doors. If you can privilege your own mind, your guiding spirit, and your reverence for its powers, that should keep you clear of dramatics, of wailing, of gnashing of teeth. You won't need solitude or a cast of thousands either. Above all, you'll be free of fear and desire. And how long your body will contain the soul that inhabits it will cause you not a moment's worry. If it's time for you to go, leave willingly, as you would to accomplish anything that can be done with grace and honor. And concentrate on this, your whole life long, for your mind to be in the right state, the state a rational civic mind should be in. Number 8. The mind of one set straight and purified, no pus, no dirt, no scabs. And not a life cut short by death, like an actor who stops before the play is done, the plot wound up. Neither servility nor arrogance, neither cringing nor disdain, neither excuses nor evasions. Number 9. Your ability to control your thoughts. Treat it with respect. It's all that protects your mind from false perceptions, false to your nature and that of all rational beings. It's what makes thoughtfulness possible, and affection for other people, and submission to the divine. Number 10. Forget everything else. Keep hold of this alone and remember it. Each of us lives only now, this brief instant. The rest has been lived already and is impossible, or, man, I messed that up, didn't I? Keep hold of this alone and remember it. Each of us lives only now, this brief instant. The rest has been lived already or is impossible to see. The span we live is small. Small as the corner of the earth in which we live it. Small as even the greatest renown, passed from mouth to mouth by short-lived stick figures, ignorant alike of themselves and those long dead. Number 11. To the standbys above, add this one. Always to define whatever it is we perceive, to trace its outline, so we can see what it really is, its substance, stripped bare, as a whole, unmodified, and to call it by its name, the thing itself and its components, to which it will eventually return. Nothing is so conducive to spiritual growth as this capacity for logical and accurate analysis of everything that happens to us. To look at it in such a way that we understand what need it fulfills and in what kind of world, and its value to that world as a whole, and to man in particular, as a citizen of that higher city of which all other cities are mere households. What is it, this thing that now forces itself on my notice? What is it made up of? How long was it designed to last? And what qualities do I need to bring to bear on it? Tranquility, courage, honesty, trustworthiness, straightforwardness, independence, or what? So in each case you need to say, this is due to God, or this is due to the interweavings and intertwinings of fate, to coincidence or chance, or this is due to a human being, someone of the same race, the same birth, the same society, but who doesn't know what nature requires of him. But I do, and so I'll treat them as the law that binds us, the law of nature requires, with kindness and with justice. And in inconsequential things, I'll do my best to treat them as they deserve. Number 12. If you do the job in a principled way, with diligence, energy, and patience, if you keep yourself free of distractions and keep the spirit inside you undamaged as if you might have to give it back at any moment, if you can embrace this without fear or expectation, can find fulfillment in what you're doing now as nature intended, and in superhuman truthfulness, every word, every utterance, then your life will be happy, and no one can prevent that. Number 13. Doctors keep their scalpels and other instruments handy for emergencies. Keep your philosophy ready too, ready to understand heaven and earth. In everything you do, even the smallest thing, remember the chain that links them. Nothing earthly succeeds by ignoring heaven, nothing heavenly by ignoring earth. 14. Stop drifting. You're not going to reread your brief comments, your deeds of the ancient Greeks and Romans, the commonplace books you saved for your old age. Sprint for the finish. Write off your hopes, and if your well-being matters to you, be your own savior while you can. Number 15. They don't realize how much is included in stealing, sowing, buying, resting, seeing to business, not with the eyes, but another kind of sight. Number 16. Body, soul, mind. Sensations, the body. Desires, the soul. Reasoning, the mind. To experience sensations, even grazing beasts do that. To experience sensations, even grazing beasts do that. To let your desires control you, even wild animals do that, and rutting humans and tyrants, from Phalaris to Nero. To make your mind your guide to what seems best. Even people who deny the gods do that. Even people who betray their country. Even people who do fill in the blank behind closed doors. If all the rest is common coin, then what is unique to the good man? Then what is unique to the good man? To welcome with affection what is sent by fate, not to stain or disturb the spirit within him with a mess of false beliefs. Instead, to preserve it faithfully by calmly obeying God, saying nothing untrue, doing nothing unjust. And if the others don't acknowledge it, this life lived with simplicity, humility, and cheerfulness, he doesn't resent them for it, and isn't deterred from following the road where it leads, to the end of life, an end to be approached in purity, in serenity, in acceptance, in peaceful unity with what must be. That is the end of Book 3, ladies and gentlemen. Probably going to read that 17 more times. Thought for today is a difficult one for me. I failed yesterday. It's not enough just to read this stuff every day and think about it every now and then. You actually have to plan. You have to look at the past. You have to analyze your mistakes. And then you have to actually plan ahead what you're going to do next time you're in these situations. How you're going to handle them better. Quote, anger makes you do stupid things faster and with more energy. Anger is a beast. Well, end quote. Anger is a beast that you can't really control once you let it out of its cage. One of my kids destroyed like a $3,000 big screen TV in the living room. Our only TV anymore. And they did it by throwing stuff in the house, which of course is a rule that we've had for a long time to not do. But children are children, and you shouldn't have them if you expect anything in your house to be safe. And so when I found out that the TV had been broke, I was calm in that moment. I did good for the first 5 minutes or less, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I was calm. I knew I accepted the loss of the TV. My expectations were good. But then I messed up. And I said, okay, what strategy do I need to use to handle this situation? And I thought through everything that we had done previously when we have difficult situations, and talking and going over the rules and reinforcing reciprocity and property ownership and restitution and all the parts of an apology. And in the moment, I didn't think that would work, because after all, we've been doing that for years with the kids, right? And I think I stupidly thought, well, that was clearly not enough, because now I have a broken TV and we're going to be without a TV until I can afford to buy another one. And in that moment, I was like, okay, well, I think I need to show some sort of calculated level of anger about what was done, and passion, at least. Maybe passion is a better word than anger. But then when it came to the moment, it's like I said in this thought. Anger is a beast that you can't really control once you've let it out of the cage. And so I thought I had it on a leash. I thought I was planning, like it was my intention to let it out of the cage on a leash in a controlled manner. But it feeds itself. It feeds on itself. It spirals in on itself. It's a self-reinforcing feedback loop. And I don't know. I think in retrospect, I failed to not, what would you say, quote, lose my temper. I was not in control as I should have been. And I mean, we sit here every morning and I read this stuff long before I started streaming it. I've been studying this stuff, and we read these, important points of wisdom from these ancient philosophers and from modern philosophy, and when you're in the moment, it does all of nothing unless you've pre-planned, unless you've pre-applied the philosophy. Okay, next time my children destroy something that is really expensive, how am I going to handle that? Well, I hadn't done that work in advance, and so the moment came. I didn't know what to do. I ended up making a poor decision, which led to even worse things happening. It's really about looking backward, analyzing your mistakes. That's half of it. That doesn't change anything. Not even studying philosophy changes anything in the moment, unless so we've looked backwards, like we've looked 2,500 years into the past to Socrates and Plato. And I say we, me, I, and I've lost my temper like this once before with my children. This was like 5 years ago, so two times now I've made this mistake. One more time than I found acceptable to myself. I think to any other parent standards, losing your temper twice in 7 years of parenting 2 children is pretty good, but to me, no, that's not good. That's not enough. It's not good enough. I need to have this figured out. So anyway, looking back to mistakes, looking back to past behavior, looking backwards in time to situations that you didn't handle well, then looking back to philosophy and philosophers that lived a long time ago, or even recently, whatever. You get the picture. You get the point. And then taking that and then looking forward and saying, okay, next time this happens, what specifically am I going to do? Because even if it's not a TV, that doesn't matter. The specifics don't matter. But next time, my children destroy something that will cost me a lot of money to either replace or repair, what specifically am I going to do different? Specifically. I don't have an answer for you right now. I'm just letting you know this is my thought for the day to answer that question. What behaviors am I going to take internal to my head and my emotions, and external to my kids and my family? What specifically am I going to do? Because answering that question now will mean that next time this happens, and we should expect it to happen again, something will get destroyed, because that is the nature of children. If I've made the plan, then I will be, at the end of the day, unlike last night when I was deeply disappointed in myself. Next time it happens, at the end of the day, I will be proud of myself because I made a plan and I executed it and I handled it well. I don't know. This is bordering on my journal. I hope this is... I don't know, guys. We're coming up on like a month, right? Like another week, a little bit of a month since I started doing these. I'm not sure where the line should be between too personal and helping other people. It seems like I can't make content that helps other people without it being somewhat linked to my personal life, but there has to be boundaries, Anyway. Wow, this is a long one, 25 minutes. I'm way over my time. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great day.